state of Meghalaya needs such a large entourage of assistance in governance over and above the elected representatives that we have and the entire bureaucratic machinery that we have?
ABPP, we are very clear that we are against these political appointments.
Okay.
We are not against the appointments per se, but we are against the political appointments. Because when you say political appointments, it means it will be based only on political consideration.
Consultants, now everything moves through them. Now officers are being belittled. Okay. And you have bureaucrats, you have technocrats.
It's very simple. To be political appointments is required, if you ask me.
Okay.
But with good measure. Okay? So who the cap fits, let them wear it. Has Agatha Sangma given a single statement of condemnation or to pull up the people in power?
Puts me in a very difficult position also, but
right.
I'll be very candid, very frank, very open.
Hello viewers and welcome to Let's Talk. This is a program being presented by the Shillong Times group and that believes in upholding important pertinent questions and debates that concerns the common man. Today we have taken a very important topic that once again concerns the common man. The common people are talking about it. The points that I'm talking about here and the topic that we have taken up for discussion today is political appointments and the culture of it, and do we see nepotism embedded in such a modus operandi? Well, I'm talking about it, the reason being, recently the Conrad Sangma-led government has appointed his very own sister as the chairperson of SCPCR, or the Meghalaya State Commission for Protection of Child Rights. Interestingly, this comes as quite a surprise for some of us perhaps, because the incumbent that we are talking about is a losing candidate in the recently concluded polls. So there has been quite a lot of talk about it, especially in the social media. But a point to be noted here is also this, that this is not the only isolated case, because Meghalaya has had a history of such political appointments even before this government, that is in the Mukhim Sangma-led government. And we have seen it has over the years turned into a family fiefdom, literally, where powerful families control many of the officers of boards, of councils, etc. So the question that arises is, have such political appointments and the nepotism that is associated with it has become the order of today's governance? Well, why is it that the governance of today, the politics of today are so dependent on such a system of nepotism and cronyism also? And why do each time the other parties, the other political parties, often remain silent about it? And over and above this is the question, can a small state like Meghalaya afford such wastage, I would say wastage of precious resources? Because it is said that these appointees or these appointments are actually not serving the purpose for which they are meant. They are neither serving the purpose of the office is concerned, nor, of course, the people at large. So this is the topic that we have taken up today in this discussion, and joining us right now is a wonderful panel that we have here. People, and these are the individuals who have consistently come up and talked about so many issues and been there in the public forum. Let me bring them before you right now. To me, right ahead of me, is representing the BJP, the party that is in coalition with the government here, and that is, of course, M. Kharkrang. He is representing the BJP. We are also being joined next to him is Dr. Jemino, Mawthoh, who is a former MLA and presently the General Secretary of the UDP, again a coalition partner of the NPP. We are also being joined by Manuel Badwar. He is representing the views of the Congress Party. And of course, we have a very independent voice and somebody who is very fearless in her journalism, none other than Madam Patricia Mukhim, and she's also the editor of the Shillong Times, and beside her is Dr. Rani, a spokesperson from the Voice of the People Party, or the VPP. So there you have it. And let me also remind all of our viewers there that there is an absence of an NPP candidate. Despite our best efforts, we couldn't really bring an NPP candidate in this debate and this discussion today, which again concerns the common people. So very hearty welcome to each one of you. Thank you so much for coming to the studios of the Shillong Times here and giving us your time. It's a pleasure to have each one of you. Well, I would like to start this discussion right away by addressing my first question to Dr. Jemino. Jemino, it was B.B. Lyngdoh who once famously said, and I quote him, "We have enough work for every MLA," unquote. So if we have to take this, such a stalwart of a person, and I would like to ask you, why does the small state of Meghalaya need such a large entourage of assistants in governance over and above the elected representatives that we have and the entire bureaucratic machinery that we have?
Thank you, Moushumi, and thank you for inviting me in this discourse. Would also like to acknowledge the presence of my good friends from different political parties. As mentioned by you, I think you've rightly hit the nail on the head. You've rightly pointed out that there has been public ire and there has been public reaction as far as the appointments of, political appointees are concerned. And it appears that, it has been rising over the years. But let me tell you that past successive governments also have also made political appointments. And maybe at that point of time, those at the helm of affairs feels that, there's a need to also rope in the political leaders or political functionaries who are experienced in the field of public life and all that, to also bring them into the, into the governance level, so that they can also contribute effectively, to serving the people, in the state. But like you said, yes, as far as I'm concerned, see, me being in the political party, UDP is also a big party, and we have been in existence for the last 27 years or more. And but besides that, we have also been part of the APHLC, because many of our leaders, we are an offshoot of the APHLC. So for so many long years, people have been attached in this party, people have been working in this party, and people have been serving the people of the state in this party also. So you have also to take into consideration, the commitment made by political leaders and political functionaries at different levels. So when a political party is also part of the government, so naturally, they will, the elected leaders will try to bring the other leaders also into the fold of governance, so that they also can contribute, collectively, when we talk about, progress and development. Okay,
your point well taken. I bring in Kharkrang here. Do you agree to your, coalition partner, what he has just said? He said that, they would like to bring in people so that they meaningfully contribute. But why family members all the time?
Me personally, I totally disagree. And of these political appointments. You see, the irony of it was that just a couple of days back, it came on the papers that CAG report, in fact, that Meghalaya is falling into a trap, and a couple of days later you have these advisors coming up in the newspaper again. It's like adding salt and injury to the general public, and I think the public have had enough of this. You see, I can understand earlier, you have advisors, you have to have a, that particular person will have to have some experience, some knowledge of whatever he does. Now you have an advisor of agriculture who does not know which seed belongs to which plant. I can challenge you that. He does not know which, I'm just giving an example.
Yeah,
so now how do you justify yourself in having these kind of advisors. You're having so many advisors. What about your bureaucrats? What are they supposed to do? Aren't they supposed to advise the chief minister?
Yes.
Aren't they supposed to advise the government? And like you said, nepotism, I mean, it's so glaring. So glaring. I mean, like, I don't think so I need to say much about it. And when you're talking about these political appointments, now we have another class that has come out, and these are what they call these consultants. You know, just adding to your political. I consider them also political appointments.
Yeah.
Why? You see, the thing is, we have bureaucrats, we have technocrats. Do you think so they cannot do the job? Now, why are they there in the first place? And then you have all these consultants coming in, and they are calling the shots for the government, how the government should function.
Okay. It's wonderful that you've taken a stance already here. So I throw open this, the debate on the discussion to the rest of our panel members here. If I can come to Badwar here, let us look into the ethics and the fairness of it all, because, the common people is very hard for them, because there are people who are highly qualified, highly educated, especially among the youth. They feel very let down. That they are not even, they are not even part of it, and so, such appointments are given to somebody who takes undue advantage just because somebody in the helm is a relative.
See, ma'am, thank you again for inviting us here. One thing that we stand, and I stand with Kharkrang also, is that my understanding of the understanding is very simple. To me, political appointments is required, if you ask me.
Okay.
But with good measure. Okay? So who the cap fits, let them wear it. I understand that because we need so. Why I'm saying we need so, because in today's world, you have a lot of subject specialists who knows the subject matter. And when we say political appointment, it does not mean that they have to come from a political background. It means you have a lateral placement in which you bring a subject specialist to that particular department to help the department in some way or the other. Not in the form of a consultant. We have ample number of specialists in our own state. We have people who really want to contribute to the development of the state. Such people deserve to be there and help the state in developing. So, if the government at all do appoint on the affairs of certain PSUs for that matter, and these people contribute to the development of that PSU, maybe change its financial position, maybe bring about some innovation into that entire function of that PSU, it would be of great help for the state, in which, as we talk today, we have 21 or 22 PSUs, rough ballpark figure, out of which nearly 18 to 19 PSUs are not even profit making. And if you go and look at these PSUs that are running in the state today, so you have a board of directors out of which 15 members are there, out of which 7 to 8 members are politically appointed. And when I tell you politically appointed, if you look at the background of these people who've been appointed, no way will they even fit in that particular function of that PSU. So they just there, I don't know for what, and they reap up everything, and they suck up everything from the system, for which the PSU will never even become profitable in the next 10-15 years of our lives.
Right.
So for which, if you say that it's draining the exchequer, it's draining the limited resources that we have, definitely it is draining. So when you take a policy and you twist it around for your own political benefit, that's where the weakest point comes in. And for which a lot of other people miss out on that bus. So that's my, beginning.
Absolutely. So thank you for your opening comments. Let me just come to Rani here. What is your stance? Because the VPP has been quite vocal in this issue, I think. So what would you like to say?
Okay, thank you, ma'am. First of all, before I go ahead, I have to make one correction. That I am not the spokesperson of the VPP. I am just a member, one of the members of the BTSL. So I'm here to represent people.
Absolutely. I meant it in that context, that today in this discussion you are the spokesperson of the VPP.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. First of all, ma'am, I am reminded of history. Way back in 2003, there was one amendment brought in the Parliament. That was the 91st Amendment Act brought by the NDA government at that time. There are basically two components of the amendment, and one of the components was the capping of the
Absolutely.
size of the government.
Right.
The 15% cap for the downsizing they call of the government.
Very true.
So according to that, accordingly the Parliament and all the states, they have to accordingly
they brought down the number of the MLAs.
At that time, if you could remember, Bharatiya Lapang was the chief minister here.
Right.
We used to have about 40 ministers.
Yeah, 40 up to 42 also earlier.
Yes. And the only reason for it is to actually,
accommodate.
Yes.
Accommodate.
Yeah.
Yes. But then, based on the recommendation of the National Commission to review the working of the Constitution, so based on these recommendations, then that amendment was brought.
Right.
So accordingly, the downsizing of the government took place all across the country. According to that 15%, in Meghalaya we are supposed to have only 9 ministers, including the chief minister. But there is one proviso in that amendment where the number of ministers shall not be less than 12. So that's what we are having 12.
Yeah.
So the basic reason, the rationale behind that amendment was that there was so much of wasteful appointments in the cabinet.
Yeah, wasteful expenditure.
So in that case, you can consider as political appointments only. So that door was closed. But then, the moment that door was closed, another door was open. And then there was back door. So Bharatiya Lapang, by that time, if you could remember, he appointed around 11 or 12 parliamentary secretaries, then chairman. Many of them were MLAs. So from then on, there were political appointments earlier also, but the new era of political appointments took, a different turn right from 2003.
Yeah. So the very purpose of it stands defeated, right? Of the 91st Amendment that was passed to cut wasteful expenditure of public money.
Yes.
That is gone because there are these backdoor political appointments. Compat, you have heard so far. What is your independent opinion now?
Moushumi, I'd first like to come specifically to the issue of the State Commission for Protection of Child Rights.
Right.
That and the State Commission for Women, we had in the past, women's groups had said that you have to have a search and selection committee to make the whole process transparent.
Fair.
And so you get the bbest person for that
Exactly.
post, because you need some expertise, some experience. That was done away with. And then you just, the other day the social welfare minister said that we had asked people and they refused. Who did he ask? Who refused? Why doesn't he put out the names?
In the open, yeah.
See, so if you are only looking at people who are close to the party, close to the government, who belong to the same political affiliation, then naturally you will have a very narrow view of things. But if you throw this whole thing wide open, there are people who can take up this and take it up very well.
Right.
So nepotism is actually, it has very undesirable outcomes. You will never find a good outcome from nepotism because the best people will never be in the right post. So that is...
so that demoralizes. I think it brings in a lot of demoralization to the people. I mean, look at our youth today. They are so active in social media and the way they write also. Yes, Compat.
I want to say one thing. So many things have happened, so many rape cases, so many POXO cases. Has Agatha Sangma given a single statement of condemnation or to pull up the people in power so that they find the culprits? We haven't heard a single word, not a word.
That's what, I mean, I was the other day talking to somebody, a very ordinary layman, and that person told me that she is a politician, not a social activist or a social worker. So how can she actually come and play this role? That apart, yes.
One of the criteria for the chairperson or is that she should be involved in some child activity in the past.
Right.
So I really doubt that, Honorable Chairman.
Right. So, Jemino, doesn't it show a very, the present government, I mean, if we take this context into consideration, actually puts the government in poor light?
Yeah, for me, especially sitting here and having to respond to your question, I think puts me in a very difficult position also, but I'll be very candid, very frank, very open.
Right.
that it's not that I disagree with what my friends have just said about the political appointments. Right? It's not that I disagree. But I want to take you back, maybe 15, 20 years back,
Right.
when I first joined the party. At that particular point of time, you will remember, I think even Patricia, Mukhim also will remember, we had tried to rope in, people who can make a difference in the state of Meghalaya.
Okay.
I remember Professor David Semle, Toki Bla, and then Frank Roy, Arji Lingdo, H.H. Morbin Umdor. We had tried to rope in all these luminaries in the state of Meghalaya so that they can also give their views and opinion about what do we want for the state of Meghalaya, the future we want for the state of Meghalaya. But like I said, past successive governments also have been in this practice of appointing, political...
But is it fair really that just because others have done so, we should also do the same?
I'm not saying it's fair. See, this will give rise to unjust and unfair competition also. Okay, there are so many who can give so much of valuable
Delivery
opinions,
is better in a better way.
give some kind of direction for the people of the state. It is not that I think otherwise, but we would like to have these people. Now, how these people have been selected, we have to ask those at the helm of affairs how they have been doing this. All right.
Yeah.
But I feel that the right people in the right place, as you have pointed out, they should be put in place so that they can be effective in the in contributing to whatever.
Because a recent RTI query that was made has brought to light the huge amount of expenditure that is also being spent on all these, because it is, come to think of it, you have the chairman, you have the deputy chairman, you have the co-chairman. I really don't understand what. Then you have the advisors. You also said about consultants, right? So where is a small state of Meghalaya? How can they afford these kind of payments, Kharkrang? Your point.
You have to go for an overdraft. There's not a way, or take a loan. There's not a way. How do you?
And it is just not salary that we are talking about. There's so many other perks.
Yes, come along.
Come along.
Right.
See, I just want to add something regarding this, like what my friend had just said just now. You see, I remember there was a particular corporation in GC earlier, which was headed by a chairman. He was a political appointee, but he had the knowledge how to run it, and he actually turned that corporation, around. And of course he's still in politics right now. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, if such people exist who have got expertise and knowledge, we have no problem. Now here so open to everyone, and they have nothing.
Yeah, that's what we.
And that's why, like what Badwar has said, corporations are falling down. MCCL, which once upon a time so famous, now it's fallen down.
So that's why the question is about the output, Compat. What is their output? Because at the end of the day, are these office bearers making any difference? Are they contributing in a tangible way?
See, we have all these political parties here, and with due respect to them,
right,
those who are in the opposition, they have a right to ask for an independent evaluation and monitoring about the outcomes. If you have a consultant here for education, what are the outcomes? Is it commensurate to what you're paying him or her? Because in any institution, if there are no outcomes, you throw away the person, is hire and fire. So it should be the same here. But we've had consultants who are walking the secretariat up and down. We do not really know what advice they're giving. We have consultants even in education, right? There's some groups
in the planning also
who have come in for education, but our education is just going down every day. The state of education in the rural areas is pathetic. It's heartbreaking. The learning outcomes are so poor. If at all we need a consultant, it should be for education, and the terms of reference should be very clear that we want this outcome from the consultant. But now we do not really know, because there's no independent monitoring. If you ask the government to monitor and give you a paper, a white paper, it's not going to be objective. It's going to be very partisan. It's going to be one-sided. So it should be the demand of the opposition to get some independent consultant and let that person do a serious study. How much money have we spent? What are the outcomes?
Absolutely. And here comes the role of the opposition, I think. So, Rani, what is it that you plan in the near future regarding these kinds of appointments? How vocal are you going to be, and what do you plan to do? Are you coming to the streets to oppose it?
From the BPP, we are very clear that we are against these political appointments.
Okay.
We are not against the appointments per se, but we are against the political appointments. Because when you say political appointments, it means it will be based only on political consideration. So if it is based on political consideration, then the merit will not be finding a place. So therefore, there are offices where we need these appointments. Like for example, if we talk about MPSC, DSC, even in a block office, you have the block development committee. So it has been arranged that way, that without those appointees, then those bodies cannot function. But political appointment should be done away with in the sense that we can bring some sort of an administrative reform. So if we can bring a reform, then we can have the policy and the guideline in place. But that appointment continues, okay, for the sake of the body or the commission or the board or whatever.
Right.
But then we have to have a clear-cut policy and guideline on those appointments so that we can bring the right people for the right job.
So what is the stance of the Congress? Though you all have really, quite minimized yourselves in the government now, but what is your stance really on this?
So, ma'am, we're not in the government at all, of course.
Not in the government, in the opposition.
You're reduced to one.
One
percent.
yes.
In the opposition as well.
At least in the
Again,
council, your party. At least in the
So again, because they were attracted to political appointments, right?
Yeah, more or less.
That's what I wanted to come to it. So the trend was started even there, even from Mukul Sarma government, with all the family members being a part of it.
Very true, very true. I mean, it has gone wrong for quite some time now.
Right.
I won't say that it has not gone wrong, but it doesn't mean that we don't look forward either. Like, the stand of the Congress is very plain and simple, and I believe in what he's saying also. There has to be a policy, there has to be an administrative change, which is like a big one. And I think it beckons also, it is demanded also. And going forward, especially when it comes to the fact that financially also as a state, we are sitting in a miserable condition.
Right.
And we have, we have IAS officers who probably has gone to some boot camp on financial management, probably the lack of understanding. Maybe he has gone to Delhi in recent times and even asked the finance ministry to change the heading of a certain particular item, which is wrong, which I believe is wrong, because my understanding is that a loan is a loan. Okay, so you have institutions like JICA, Asian Development Bank, and so on and so forth. So if you get a loan from them and they say that no, you have a moratorium of around 30 years and you pay after the 30th year without any interest, it's still a loan. You can't classify it as a grant, right?
So in the future, we are indebted in...
So we are anyway indebted.
We remain indebted always,
yes. So we are anyway indebted. And then you come back to the finances of the state, and you look at the state, what kind of revenues are we getting? So you see GSDP, as has been defined in those interviews that I saw, GSDP constitute of many things, right? Investment is also a part of it. So now when you pump in a lot of money and you call it investment, so obviously your GSDP goes up. And you have to take into consideration the population growth as well. So population is also growing, right? So you have productive individuals that are coming to society on a daily basis.
We are not even looking at internal resource generation.
So now when we look at the internal money, revenue that we're getting, hardly 3,000 crores. 3,000 crores compared to Sikkim. Sikkim is overdoing us with a population which is not even half of ours. So we have to look at the financials that way as well. And then when you look at the spending of that money that we get, it's enormous. It's becoming way too much. And so that's where I keep on telling people that yes, we are definitely in a financial crunch. We have to exercise austerity to a very large extent, which we see that this government in particular is not wanting to move forward in that direction.
Okay, quick retort to this.
Yeah.
This government is not willing to do this.
No, I fully agree. It's not that I don't agree with what these gentlemen have pointed out, it's not that I disagree, but like I said, we are also living in very challenging times. I do agree that Meghalaya is a small state. It is not an income-generating state, and there's a lot of wasteful expenditure. And this is where we really need to put our heads together. How do we move forward? It's not that I disagree with what he's saying, but being in a political party, again, things can become very complex also. You have to understand that. We have to keep the political party also strong. And
Financially.
Not only financially, but I'm not talking about financially.
Strong together,
We really need to connect the threads and all that, so that our party also can move forward. Right. But like you said, see, we also need expertise, people who are competent, people who are far-sighted, people who sees what is really going on in the state of Meghalaya, and how do we get out of that, of that hole. That is
Alright, so viewers, that was the discussion up to this point. You have seen and watched and heard the stands taken by these different panelists so far. There's so much more to come in the next segment that we will take you forward, so don't go anywhere. We are just going for a very short commercial break, and we will be right back in Let's Talk. Alright, so viewers, welcome back. Well, you are in this discussion, Let's Talk, a program by the Shillong Times group. And today, as you very well know, those of you who have joined us since the beginning of this program, that it is about the justification of political appointments, and if there is some element of nepotism that is also there embedded in it. Let us go ahead and move on with the next segment of this discussion.
Asked by Jemino and by Kharkrang, what is the State Planning Board doing? Because the State Planning Board has an overall sort of supervisory role. Who's heading it? We don't even hear of who is heading it and what is its path.
What is its
path and what has it done? Has it inspected anything? Because in the past, I remember state planning boards were very, very proactive.
See, but you also need to look at the political equation in the state also. Okay, we may be in the coalition government, and the working relationship can be very complex also. You need to understand that. I'm being very practical, I'm being very candid when I say
you're being very honest.
Okay, and when we say that, okay, political appointees, there is also, we go by the proportion. okay, by the ratio.
Okay.
How many elected
Yeah.
members you have, okay. So the party with more elected members, they get the major share. Whereas smaller parties, we just...
So when a larger party decides, are the smaller parties in coalition even consulted?
Sometimes it's very difficult, but let me tell you this. By being part of the government, it is not that we keep quiet on all things.
Okay.
Okay. When you talk about the illegal coal transportation, we were very vocal about it. When we talk about the anomalies and all the kind of discrepancies happening in the power sector, we also took a step and challenged that.
Okay.
And there are many other issues also confronting the teachers, confronting other stakeholders, other groups also. It is not that we keep quiet. We are part and parcel of the government, but it does not mean that the government can do whatever they like.
Exactly.
See, there are certain things that I was in the opposition when I was elected, 2013. 8 of us were elected. 5 years, we remained steadfast in the opposition.
Right.
We fought. We brought out these issues. But what happened in 2018? In 2018, from 8, our numbers were reduced to 6. And then when we became part of the government with 6 members, in 2018, our numbers increases to 12. Now what do you have to say to that? Being part of the government, you can also contribute in the functioning of the government. But that is not to say that we remain quiet if the government does something which is wrong, which is against the wishes of the people.
Yes, and that's...
So that is, I want to make my point very clear.
Right, and quick word from you, Kharkrang.
Kharkrang, if I may butt in here, a lot of resistance and opposition from the BJP comes from Garo Hills. Over here, we don't hear too much. So what could be the reason?
Probably they're more. Probably he must be referring to Bernard. Probably he must be doing a lot of research and a lot of searching around and finding all these anomalies and lapses. That's why he's reasoning out. And it's not that we are keeping quiet here. Also, we are actually talking here. Also, but not to the extent that Bernard's coming, because he's coming out every day, every single day. And there are certain issues also we have been flagging it to the government, to our president. And let me also tell you here also that from our party, at least from the president's desk, we have not written to the government for any political appointments. Okay, that is one thing from our party side. We have not pressed it. So we have not taken up with the government also. And it's not that whatever the government does, also we keep quiet. There are instances where, because we only have Bahek in the cabinet, and he had raised a lot of objections and all, but unfortunately he's a single person over there, so he gets overruled every time. There are a number of instances that he has raised objections to the cabinet meetings. And but the thing is, numbers do matter in politics, and of course then it's left to us from outside to take it up in the public domain. Because it becomes difficult.
Yeah, but a quick question, this is for the interest of all the viewers also who are watching this program, because, these honorarium of political appointees varies to a large extent. What are these classifications, Jemino? A++, A+, ABC? As a layman myself, I would like to understand, what are these classifications? What are they based on?
I'm really not aware about all those things.
And are the honorarium also divided based on
categories? But I can only say one thing. That, I acknowledge the fact that the government also has put me in the position of being an honorary advisor. Right? But being an honorary advisor, I'm not taking any salary.
So you're an
I'm not taking anything, not a single pie. But I would like to contribute, to the government. Our ideas, our suggestions, our thoughts, whatever. So that is why you cannot just club everybody, that we're in the same boat. We also have been in public office for a very long time. We work with the people. We understand the dynamics of politics and the economics in the state of Meghalaya, and we would like to connect the threads. So being in the ruling also, part of the government, you can also make a difference, no?
Yeah, absolutely. We agree to that. You are getting, much of the brickbats here, right? Because there is an absence of the NPP representative. Right?
You put us in the seat of affairs, then you'll see
Okay.
the change that is going to come. Seriously.
That's a good canvassing to do, really.
No,
Right,
I agree
yes.
that there is some amount of principled leadership in some
Yeah,
parties,
true. That's true.
but they do not have the numbers, they do not have the voice perhaps.
Yeah, so that's why I think each of the parties needs to come with bigger strength, and
And
for that I think you need to work. The people need to see your work.
It's politics
Yeah.
after all. So
See, because there is a vacuum of protests from political parties which should actually be leading the way. So you have n number of pressure groups coming in for every issue under the sun.
Right. That is there.
And all these things are coming out because of social media, because of you all taking up. You see, probably.
Social media is active, and they
Yeah.
they do represent the pulse.
Yeah, exactly.
See, and political
Yeah.
parties also have to look into the divergent needs of the people.
Right. That's
See, ma'am,
Different.
Yeah.
just to follow up on what he says, divergent need of the people, which is a very good statement if you ask me. I'll give you an example, just came to my mind just now. So we have a big urban problem right now in which we need to dump soil somewhere because some people are doing some cutting somewhere to create some houses or the other. And we have another group of people who need to earth fill somewhere. If we look at the system that exists right now in our state, we don't really know. So somebody who's doing some earth cutting somewhere doesn't know where to go and dump that soil anywhere. And somebody who needs to fill up certain places does not know exactly where to get it. So there's an economy that is existing there, but it's not, I won't say it's organized. The government could step in.
Absolutely.
Urban development, MODA or whichever, municipal could step in and say that, look, let's do one thing. Whoever needs to dump some earth somewhere needs to fill up a form or submit it to us. How much exactly do you want to dump? And somebody who needs to fill and connect the dots.
Right.
And from that process, you can have agencies to work and make some profit out of it and maybe even create jobs out of it. Small things like that. I mean, sorry to say, sir, there are lots of advisors, right? Honorary advisors. They also could contribute.
Maybe there are no economic advisors.
Maybe people don't even want to think about it. Maybe they only think about the political advice.
Maybe and that is because we do not have. Do we have that state economic advisory council now, Jemino?
I don't know whether it's functional or not.
Do we still have that state employment generation council?
Yeah, I think that is still there. That
Yeah.
is still there. Okay. So what we understand, you've been silent for some time, is nepotism, you feel, has become part of appeasement politics today?
Very much. Because at the end of the day, the various political parties, they want to please their own members in one way or the other. Okay, if I can use an analogy, so these political appointments, they are like what they call the white elephants. So if you look at the number of political appointees that we have in the states today, we can see that Meghalaya is like the land of the political white elephants.
Oh my.
Very costly to keep. These elephants,
Not productive at all.
these white elephants, either in Thailand or South Asia, they somehow have some value because they do participate in the race or something.
But
But
not here.
here they are out of the race. They are the ones who have lost the race.
Okay.
Forget about winning the race.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you see, it has cost the state so much, and we, the people, we are.
And that is the sad
Ma'am,
part of it,
if you
yeah.
don't mind, I
Right.
would like to bring to this discussion here regarding the statement made by the Chief Minister,
Okay.
where he has stated that we have not spent much, we are not spending much on these political appointees, where it is around 12 lakhs
12
only.
lakh rupees, yes.
So I think that is misleading, because if you calculate all the emoluments together with all the perks attached to the post, it goes into crores of
Right.
rupees.
And it is said that it is higher sometimes even what an IAS officer actually is getting.
Yeah. And the appointments is going on, and over the years you see new terms has been brought, like consultants, and in the near future many other terminologies may be brought. I think there is a need, because this is going all across the country. I think there is a need for the central government again to look into this matter
Right.
and to bring another amendment if possible.
Absolutely.
It can be brought. It can be brought.
Right. And I think
There are certain appointments that can be kept, but
Ah.
there are certain appointments which are really undesired and they should be abolished.
so. This is a party policy for you. Would you take it up actually? Because
We have been raising
also.
this in the house and outside the house, so we are always working on it, how to bring a new paradigm. So accordingly, we are taking it up, and hopefully that one day, if we get a chance, we will.
Absolutely.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
You were just mentioning about consultants. One thing about consultants, apart of course the expenditure that is involved in it, nothing is that you are actually belittling your own officers, the process. See, because the thing is, I'm telling you, consultants now, everything moves through them. Now, officers are being belittled. Okay? And you have bureaucrats, you have technocrats. You see, earlier I remember when they took up this Indo-Danish project there in Upper Shillong. They brought the Danish cows now. And from Denmark, the vets came there, taught the veterinarians over there. After 1 year they left. How to take care of the cows. Including this, our Umyam hydro power project. So Japanese that come over there. Taught the engineers work with them because it's such a huge project.
Right.
People will not mind if they can see some result of this thing. But here you don't see anything.
Right.
I really, for the last so many years I've been there.
There has to be ROI.
Visible outcome.
And to give you an example, I met somebody recently who's a senior to me, of course, and he said that he's retired from Assam, but he has been appointed here as an advisor, and he said, your government is not leaving me, so he visits from Guwahati, stays here in a guest house for 4 days, and goes back again. I mean, this is the kind of role, and he says that your government is not leaving me, so, I have still not retired.
No, even retired bureaucrats are reappointed, no?
Yes. So now that we have understood, yes, we are all in one page. What I understand, even our coalition partners here also are in the same page that this needs a change, right? And because there are so many other areas, other sectors that needs a focus. So as we are almost wrapping up this discussion today, I would start with Jemino once again. What are those sectors? Because there's so much of pessimism amongst the youth, as I said. They are frustrated. They see no way ahead of them because they are qualified, and yet they feel there is no job for them because they don't have the political backing. So, what is the way out to all of this?
See, what I feel is that we need to have a proper planning right from the top, because then we can think about all the sectoral, development, in different areas. But if we have, good plans at the top, then we'll be able to provide some kind of direction. But my last take on this, I don't know why you're confining only to the political thing. When you talk about nepotism, it has populated to all levels, I'll tell you, in our society. Once upon a time, I would like to mention about this. I remember when my uncle was the director of soil conservation, my mother, she was looking for a job, and we were 6 children at the time, so difficult. That application which was given by a sister to a brother was not entertained, because why? At that particular point of time, you have these people who are upright, principled, people with integrity, and they feel that it is not right, to bring in your own kid and kin or family members or friends or those who are in close association. But that era is gone. Things are changing. You look at political appointments, forget about political appointments.
And so blatantly being done.
You look at appointments everywhere. At the state level, at the district level, at the block level.
In every
you
department.
have in every department, your own kith and kin, relatives. You're putting your relatives, your own kith and kin. So things are changing. And even upright leaders, upright people, people with integrity, because of the pressure of, not getting employment for their children and all that, they'll go to any extent to ask for favors also. That I'm saying it because why? We have experienced this, we have seen this happening. So a lot of things needs to be addressed in our society, because we are going through a rough time. There are less of opportunities, and when everyone is scrambling for whatever they can get, so that is why, these things are happening now.
Okay, because when it comes to how do we bring back the confidence really in the entire system, Kharkrang, because unemployment is one major issue here. Look at the educated unemployed youths that are there looking for job, any particular advertisement, and there are thousands of applicants and all have the qualification, yet they are not making it through.
If the government has to take a role, please spend it in capital investment.
Exactly.
Create unless we start spending capital investment, then I think so it will not create any jobs. Forget about government jobs. And but I really don't know because I have not seen any capital investment that has been happening in the last 5 to 6 years now. Really, frankly speaking, I have not seen any capital investment. And the second thing is that this is one thing that we're going to take up from the party also. From 2017, central government has issued a notification that all Group C and D need not go for an interview. It will be based on their written exam. That has not been followed by our government till date. Now, let me give you an example. A driver, you test his skills, driving skills, you ask him what his traffic signs and all. Now, you call him for an interview. Who won the presidential election? How does his knowledge of that will help him in his driving skill? But what I got to know is that recently there was an advertisement for grade 4 beyond or something and all. They said that there will be no interview. But now after the results has come out, they said the interview will be there. You see, these are the things that that brings all the doubt and in the young mind. You see, the thing is now, suppose me and you are going for an interview. I know that you are better than me. I will not mind if you get it. Now, if I know that I'm better than you, then I don't get it because I don't have political strength. That is where it hurts.
That's
where it hurts.
And that is what we are talking about.
Interview is just a part.
This is something I just wanted to mention here because if I'm not mistaken, in the year 2016, we had taken up this issue at that point of time in the assembly when late Dr. Roy was there. No more interviews because why? It leads to a lot of favoritism and all that.
Absolutely.
Because people with merit who are supposed to get, the jobs are not getting. So that's very unfair.
Yeah.
So there's no political will to change.
Yeah, political will, and Jemino said there is lack of integrity, people with integrity and principles too. Badwar, your comments on this?
My comment is plain and simple. At the end of the day, as Ba rightly said, there's no capex. So capital investment also has to be a certain thing. It has to be meaningful in nature. It might show that your figures goes up, as I mentioned earlier, that your GSDP goes up because the investment is huge. But then the investment will become NPA very soon, non-performing asset, right? So sooner or later, we're going to suffer a lot more. And that will show its ugly face 5, 6, 7 years down the line. Now, is it meaningful enough, as he said, that we need to have proper planning for the future generations? And the planning has to be strategic in nature as well. Whether are we going to move from an agrarian economy to a service economy? Which economy are we looking at? What are we wanting to do? That has to come from so many heads and meaningful heads. And these people have to come think about it. There's so many examples that we can cite. It's just not about government jobs, but it's about productive jobs that we need to create. And the government, believe it or not, if there is a political will, we definitely can do it. But as long as the government is living the world of pacification, whereby they just want to make the political leaders happy, forget about it. Because a lot of political leaders, be it as it may, a lot of political leaders, even till today, are not of that caliber yet. At least in this state, I can tell you that. Very few are of that caliber who wants to do. See, there's two different things, wanting to do it and having the skill set or the ability to do it. We all want to do it. We all want to change the world, but if we don't have the skill set to change the world, we can't. So we need also political will, and we need also the capability to do it.
And you're driving away people who may be interested in politics, young people who want to join, and you're actually discouraging them, right? Your quick comments, Rani.
First of all, from the party, we are of the opinion that these political appointees must be reviewed, and these political appointees, if not desired, then if we keep them, it will be like legalizing corruption. So that is the thing. And then number two, from our side, we feel that to change the state and to really put it into a new chapter, then we need a strong political leadership. We need people with vision, people with character, people with integrity, and people who are determined to take the state forward. This state is governed by us. We got a separate state way back from 1972. If we don't deliver the good, then who will suffer? It will be us. If I do nepotism to my children, then who will suffer? Again, my children will suffer in the future because somebody else will take my post. So at the end of the day, it will, when it reaches to the people, when people cannot tolerate anymore, then that time you may see ugly things like it happened in Bangladesh. information, sir. We don't want that situation to happen here.
Now, I just want to add something what you said. The worst thing is that, we tend to play the victim card. We do everything ourselves, then we blame others from outside.
Yes.
That's the worst thing, playing the victim card. We also see that we are victim of people from outside are coming and they're destroying us, they're doing all these things. You forget that we ourselves are doing it against our own people.
Yeah, so it's time, Compat, you feel that people really should come out against such a system that is building up day by day.
No, I'm glad we're having this sort of discussion because we cannot leave everything to politics and to politicians. You need to have a thriving civil society. My concern is look at the loss of credibility of the MPFC. I mean, people have no more faith in that institution, and it's supposed to be the main institution which will be appointing the state civil service officers. The reason why the administration at the block levels is so poor, is steeped in corruption, is because you've got the wrong people there. So if you do not remedy that and you allow this institution and the DSCs to be completely politicized and nepotized, then we are looking at a very bleak future.
And we have a sizable youth population.
Exactly. That's why this discussion is all about.
And they are demotivated, actually.
They are watching everything, they are watching. We think that they are silent, but they are observing everything.
They are watching you. You just have to look at social media to see their comments.
Right.
It's so bitter.
They are bitter.
On my survey, there was a particular, of course, that's some time back, in a particular DSC, whoever was successful candidates are either from the clan of the local MLA or his wife. all the candidates who come out successful.
And Compat would agree with me, a sizable section, that's what the government also has come forward, that a sizable section of our youth are into wrong substance abuse, say for instance, they are into drugs, etc. And why will they not be? Because there's so much of pessimism and frustration. We need to address their issues, from where it is emanating from.
Coming to that, we don't even have a state-run rehabilitation center. Can you imagine? We have only two, which is Sun Care and the other one. They are privately run. They are expensive. So where do all these young
people... And they run away
go?
also from the state-run institutions.
I'm just thinking, Moushumi,
if
in the state the projected population is 38 lakhs or something, and if in the assembly it was debated, then the numbers of drug users in the state is around 3 lakhs. And that is about 10%.
And this is another topic that I hopefully will take it up very soon, actually. It's a very serious issue.
But we are not discussing it as a society.
We need to, and the mental health of it, which is connected to it. But then, as I am wrapping up, I give you 1 minute or 30 seconds to each. What therefore is required for quote-unquote Viksit Meghalaya, because recently the Chief Minister of the state has said that he wants to project and take the state to 2047 and make the state into $100 billion economy. And when we turn 75, that's what he said, that's what the promise of the CM is. But of course, it's good to dream, but dreams should be based on real facts and acts as well. So, Mr. Kharkrang, what are your closing comments for Viksit Meghalaya?
Ultimately, we get what we deserve, Now the thing is, ultimately people will have to go to electorate, package electorates. Now you elect a person that will not be capable, then what do you get? That's the product of it, So now it's up to the people,
At the end of the day, it is the people who need to make their right choices. Okay.
I think we need to understand the state of affairs in Meghalaya. Okay, what ails our state? We have to look into that. Let's also be positive, that we can come out of this and then maybe propel the state forward. I feel that we need to have a positive mindset, bring all stakeholders together, and call a spade, and it's high time that we move forward without being negative.
Absolutely.
We understand the situation that we're in, so challenging. The state of affairs, you look at all sectors, we have failed in many sectors, what Chief Minister is saying, maybe let's hope it happens.
Absolutely.
And I hope it happens also. But we will have to wait and see.
For this, everybody needs to work, Badwar, quickly. We can definitely, as Jemino said, we need to be positive, right? We need to all work together for the state and the future of the citizens also.
True. So, I think, Honorable CM Conrad had said that he wanted to be a $10 billion economy. That is in 10 years.
Right. Now it is
So
2047.
So now it's 2047.
Yes. When we turn
I think it's a little
25.
far-fetched in the sense because we have 42,000 crores right now as a JSDP. So even if we go to 83,000 crores, we might be able to do it in 10 years. But given the fact that the investments are quite bad right now, capex especially not happening to the extent in which it should happen, I don't see that we're going beyond 6, 7, 8 to 9% on a yearly basis. So 8 to 9% for economy which is as small as us, 42,000 crores, and on top of that population of around 37 lakhs and still growing to 43. The numbers don't sit, to be honest with you, it won't sit. So we might, if we're lucky enough, be able to reach 83,000 crores, there's no denying. But beyond that, to reach the level in which they're talking about, it'll take a long time and it's a little far-fetched.
Right.
But
So,
we hope
yeah.
that things will...
So, Rani, are you willing to work really together?
We have to stop all the wasteful expenditures, whether tamasas, whether political appointments or whatever, because the state is in such a condition where we have to really be very, very strict with this kind of expenditures, unnecessary expenditures that is there. And to wind up, I would say that the danger to democracy is not from its enemies, but from the so-called friends who tend to work for their personal aggrandizement over public interests. We have to end that.
You have not minced your words at all. In fact, you have stated what lies in your heart. Quickly, Kongpat, how would you sum it up?
So we have a Chief Minister who's supposed to be a financial management expert with a degree from a foreign university, and he's kept jargonizing this $10 billion economy. I don't know how many zeros there are and how many crores it works out to, but if you do not have a trajectory like Ba said, what part of the economy is going to bring in, which are the economic sectors that will bring in this kind of growth? We haven't even looked at that. Our economy at the moment is very extractive. It's coal and limestone. How much is it yielding? We don't know, because now it's in the illegal sector, So unless we legalize things, unless we are accountable and we have an economic trajectory to show us, look guys, these are the areas of growth, so please invest in these areas of growth or be educated in these areas of growth. All these jargons and saying all these things, nice, happy things, it's just lulling us to sleep actually.
Yeah. So what do we need really? What does the state really need at the end of the day?
The state needs a pragmatic economic vision. I think all of us will agree to that, because without that economic vision, we're thinking in the dark, no? We're all in a dark room. We don't know where to go.
We are directionless actually.
Yeah.
So I hope all of you, the parties working with the government and those in opposition also will work together. I think at the end of the day, a small state like Meghalaya needs people to come together and work for the state, leaving aside all the differences you may have, because at the end of the day what matters is the state and its progress, be it next 10 years or be it till 2047. I would like to thank each one of you. I start with Kharkrang. Thank you so much for taking your time out. It's really been a wholesome discussion today, and I'm sure many of our viewers have enjoyed watching this program. I also would like to thank Dr. Jemino Mawthoh from the General Secretary of the UDP for coming to the studios here and discussing. I thank Badwar also for taking your time out. I'm sure that many of you had to leave your other assignments, but then you made time for us here. I thank especially Patricia Mukhim here. I'm so used to calling her Kongpat actually, so Patricia Mukhim takes a little while for me to say thank you so much, ma'am, for coming and of course enlightening us and putting so much in this whole debate and discussion, and Rani too for coming to us and telling us what the VPP's position is in this. It's been a wholesome discussion. It's been, I think we have discussed everything quite threadbare as much as we could in the last 1 hour. And I hope that each one of you, our viewers over there who are watching us, you have enjoyed and you've taken your stands also, and you also definitely have the right to express your views as to what you think about this discussion. Join us next time again when we shall once again talk in our program called Let's Talk. Until next time, from all of us here, it's bidding you goodbye.